kind of shows you what kind of they had been like, hiding and dodging and, being scared of the Philistines. And all of a sudden they said, look at those two. They've come out of the holes. And the men of the garrison answered Jonathan. See, they had already called up to him, hey, hey, got you. And the men of the garrison answered Jonathan and his armor bearer and said, come up to us and we will show you a thing or two. And Jonathan said unto his armor bearer, come on after me. I love it. Come on after me. And they fell. They said, come after me, for the Lord hath delivered them into the hand of Israel. And Jonathan climbed up upon his hands and upon his feet. Look at the advantage he had, y'all. He was totally exposed, climbing up on his hands and feet. And here the Philistines standing up there. They're so arrogant, they could have shot down and killed him. And they're standing there like, we're going to have sport with him. I just love this scripture. And Jonathan climbed up on his hands and feet, and his armor bearer after him, and they fell before Jonathan. His armor bearer slew after him. They didn't know what had hit him. He came up swinging, buddy. And it says that in that first slaughter, which Jonathan, his armor bearer, made, was about 20 men, within, as it were, a half acre of land which a yoke of oxen might plow. And listen, what was the result of this bravery? What was the result of this challenging the enemy and going after them? Look at this. And there was trembling in the host, in the field, and among all the people. The garrison and the spoilers, they also trembled, and the earth quaked. So there was a very great trembling. You think God got in on it? Yes. I think God said, watch my boys. And I believe as they just went through that garrison of Philistines, fear just took up a trembling, and God began to shake the earth. God is looking for Jonathan. The very next few verses down from here, you'll find David coming to face Goliath. And it says, when Jonathan heard David, his heart was knit to him. Because Jonathan had been around a lot of men who were hanging back in Gibeah. And he saw David saying, he's defying the armies of the God of Israel. And those two became as one in spirit. You do something. You be that bold lion who's turned his paws around and dug in and ready to charge, and you watch the earth tremble. I believe that. I believe it. This is heavier than I thought. My goodness. I want to do something tonight. You can go if you have to, but I want to do this, and I want you to be totally honest with yourself. I do a lot of ministering to people, and I don't stand and have long lines because I do it this way, and I think this is how God has showed me to minister to people. You know, I could go and teach a whole lesson on crossing over Jordan and partaking of the first or the old corn of the land. And I want to say this to you tonight. Have you truly crossed over? And if you have crossed over, have you taken the old corn of the land? Are you still hungering back for manna, or have you taken the old corn of the land? Because let me tell you what corn represents. It represents provision. Turn to Joshua chapter 5. I want you to read it out loud. Joshua chapter 5, starting with verse 10. Read it loud.
And the children of Israel encamped at Gilgal and kept the Passover on the 14th day of the month of the even in the plains of Jericho. And they did eat of the old corn of the land on the morrow after the Passover, unleavened cakes, spiritual manna anymore, but they did eat of the fruit of the land of Canaan that year.
Okay, here's my question to you. Are you eating of the fruit of the land of Canaan? Canaan is not heaven. Canaan is called the promised land. The promised land has giants in it. Heaven doesn't have giants. But there is provision in this land where giants roam, fear, doubt, all these giants that come and just want to crowd us out. But God has said that they came over and they ate of the old corn, and that was to represent their provision that God had for them. He had it for them 40 years earlier, and they had not come into the land. Gilgal means circle or wheel. He had brought them for 40 years of wandering all the way back to the place where they should have gone in 40 years ago. And this time they went in and they partook of the old corn of the land. The old corn of the land represents all that God has provided for you, but what the devil has kept you from. Now, we're going to minister, Carlton and I, Deborah and Rob. But here's how I minister. And be honest, don't be embarrassed, it's time to be honest. If you are having trouble in a relationship, husband and wife, father or son, employee, whatever, if you are having serious trouble with a relationship, come stand over here. If you are having financial trouble, please don't stampede me. But if you are seriously having financial trouble, you come stand right here in the middle. Don't be embarrassed. See, God knows what you're going through. In these times, He knows. So if you're having financial difficulties in any way, come stand here in the middle. And the third one, if you need healing, if you truly need healing, come stand over here. Relationships, finances, healing. Please let this be a time that you're honest before the Lord, because I believe He will honor that for you. We're not here to embarrass or intimidate or hurt anybody. It's here that we step out and say, this is what I need.